Hey guys, Dale here from Team WUNAX, and I ended up playing FIENDSMITH YUBEL at the Regionals in Minneapolis this past weekend. I ended up getting 10th place. Deck obviously got hit on the most recent ban list, but I actually don't really think it matters. Opening the Spirit Gates to 3 is actually insane. I think really all you're gonna do is swap Phantom out, play another engine card, or play another like engine card in the extra deck, and just play the same deck. I don't think you really have to change much for it. I'm probably gonna run Pier for a little bit for fun because I was just borrowing the FIENDSMITH cards. It's actually why I'm not doing a physical deck profile here, because I was borrowing them. I planned to buy them, but now that they're all ridiculously expensive, thanks Strict Gaming, YCS Champion 2024, probably won't do that again now because I don't really want to spend hundreds of dollars. Same reason I don't have multi armies in my deck. I didn't want to pay $100 a piece for 6 cards to play. It worked out fine. I just didn't feel like I needed them most of the time. My hand trap lineup did a lot of work as it is. So let's get into the deck. Start off with 3 Beckoning Beasts. Yeah, it's one of your starters in the deck. It helps you get to your FIENDSMITH engine, etc, etc. It's also just like a good UL piece. Anytime I open this card, I felt really good. Now that we have 3 Spirit Gates, I think this deck actually is even better. 2 Phantom didn't really come up that much for me, and a lot of times you can just shuffle it back and it didn't really change anything. After that, our FIENDSMITH engine, 1 Fabled Lurry, 3 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, 2 Tracked. In the future, if I'd play this deck, I'd probably match that on Tracked. It's really nice to open. I didn't draw it nearly as much as I would have liked to. Along with that, I also think I would probably play Sanct, just having more starters. The big thing for me is because I played a lot of hand traps in this, and I played over 45, I didn't actually draw as many starters as I would have liked, or at least as many cards that comboed with other cards as I would have liked. I drew a lot of normal summons, Fabled Lurry and Gruesome Gravestormer, which just glued my hand all day, so that was fun. I think my losses were both of them, where I just opened like Engraver, 2 of the same hand trap, or sorry, I opened a Lurry, 2 of the same hand trap, and Squirmer, and I was just like, okay, cool, my hand just doesn't do anything, right? And so, yeah, that happened quite a bit. Opening Lacrima was fine. I really wish I would have played the trap card. I think one of my other losses was not playing it. It came up a lot. Definitely play FIENDSMITH in Paradise. Honestly, for changes I would just make to the deck quick. I would match that on Spirit Gates now, obviously. Card's insane. I also will say I didn't really test this deck much beforehand. I was testing Ryzeal all week, just trying to get a feel for it, thinking I was probably gonna end up playing it. I didn't end up playing it, and so I was like, I don't want to play Fire Chain, which is my other deck. I don't want to play Armed Dragon, which is the other deck I had, because, well, I didn't think Armed Dragon was good enough, and I was worried about playing Fire Chain because I didn't want to get shifted all weekend. I was worried I'd play a lot of Malice. I only played 1 Malice and I 2-0'd it. So I guess my worries were mostly unfounded. Malice is still pretty good, but yeah, this deck actually has a decent Malice matchup. Even if they shifter, you can kind of play through it most of the time with the UBEL cards. So we'll go back. FIENDSMITH cards, really nice for just pushing. I really did not resolve Sequence almost at all. It just ate hand traps all day. So that kind of sucked. I did it a couple times. So I did it when it mattered and I won with it, but yeah, 6-2, not great. For the other engine, we're playing 1 Gruesome Gravestormer. You have to play this, which kind of sucks because this card was glued to my hand literally like every game. I want to say, for my 8 rounds, I want to say I drew it at least 2 out of the 3 games. If I played the 3 games every round, it was abysmal. I hated this card so much, but live. It's an extender, worst case scenario most of the time, so it wasn't that bad. 3 Lotus, this card's pretty good. It's also just hand trap bait, right? It's fine. 2 Spirit, 1 UBEL, 1 Terra Incarnate, pretty standard, and then 1 Sharvara, also just standard. This is just a standard Fiend package. 3 Throne, 1 Opening, still to play, 1 Called by, 1 Terraforming, 1 Pain, 1 Talents, 1 for 1, nothing too crazy there. I don't want to draw multiple talents. I probably would play 3 now because everyone was on a million hand traps and I got hand trapped constantly all day, but oh well, it's fine. 1 for 1, new art makes it 100% a staple. Also, it does just get you to engine, although I didn't really resolve it too much. It also just ate hand traps. Basically, I just ate hand traps all day and kind of just grinded people out was most of my games. 1 for 1 was fine. It sucks, but it's also good. You just more starters is always fine. 1 Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. This card also lost me games, but it's also just like cracked, right? Like when you get to it, it's really strong. Lets you link and do some plays. I honestly thought about not playing it, and I kind of wish I didn't. It didn't really do anything crazy. I think like there was more than once that I drew it. I searched the Sharvara anyways, and I sent it so I could actually play Yu-Gi-Oh. So yeah, deck was good, but like there was just, I drew a lot of my garnets all day, and I was just kind of barely winning and playing through stuff. So if you can draw bad and win, deck's probably pretty good. After that, our hand trap lineup: 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 2 Ogre, 3 Nib, 3 Droll. Didn't really hate any of this. Nib's kind of weird because like it's really strong, but you have to pair it. But even if you pair it, if they have a cross out, you just feel bad anyway. So really high impact, but it also kind of just blows if they just have the outs, right? Like it doesn't do anything. It doesn't really even trade that effectively, because if you're getting to the point where you can nib them, but they have the out to nib, you're probably not going to win the game. So high impact, but when it works, it works. Triple Droll after that, another card. It just felt really good in almost everything. Most of the time when I resolved Droll, I felt fine against it. I did draw 2 of them into 10 pie after they shifted me, and I lost because of that, probably, because if they had just been like a different hand trap, like Ash or Imperm or, you know, not Droll, we probably would have been okay. From there, Triple D Barrier. This card was insane. This card definitely carried me in, I think, 2 games against Raziel. I just flipped this card and then I won immediately because they couldn't play Yugioh. Triple Droplet. This was a side-in for Raziel, because that was by far, like, Yubel's good against pretty much everything. Raziel's pretty tough because you do have to like have face-up continuous cards on the field, and they just kill those. FIENDSMITH Engine does kind of force out a lot of the cards, but again, it's kind of a pain to get stopped. It's kind of a pain to pay through Detonator. It's a lot of interruptions for no reason. We played 1 Chaos Hunter. This was to send with Area Leader to summon back. I never did it because game 1 I went first against Malice and I made my board and they couldn't out it. Game 2 I went second, but I went Imperm, Ash, Nibiru, and they could not play Yugioh, and I won relatively quickly. From there, we played Red Resonator, just your time card. Yeah. 1 Feather Duster, 2 Lightning Storms. Just, I was worried about like some backroad decks trying to sneak in. I knew that like Labyrinth was pretty popular. I also wanted more like solid targets for Thrust. I played Triple Trust after that and 1 Talents. This was specifically for Raziel. These cards cooked, and you want both to be able to get D Barrier if they hand trap you, and also, or when they Mulchummy. I got Mulchummied a lot. Thrust really carries in that situation. You'd probably play more targets for it. I was mostly worried about Raziel because I think the rest of the decks this deck does pretty well against, even going second. Detonator is specifically a pain to deal with. After that, like I said, 1 Talents. This was just another copy to help beat Raziel. Basically, if you draw Talents, you draw Thrust, and they have a negate for the first Talents, and you play a second one, you take the Detonator and you win the game. So yeah. For the extra deck, 1 Area Leader, 1 Desiree. This card I pretty much never made. I wish I had played the FIENDSMITH in Paradise, because Desiree might have been useful then. I think the one time I made Desiree, it did win me the game. Or I think I made it twice. One of the times it didn't do anything because they just got rid of my sequence and I was sad. And then after that, it was, I made it, and I mean, like, it negated their Teekaboo and they flipped it and they died. But it was kind of like whatever. The game was probably over anyways, even after that Teekaboo. They burned all their cards, basically trying to break my board, and then on the follow-up they flipped a Teekaboo, and I just used Desiree Effect, negated it, and won anyways. Necrocrypt, this card's crazy. My loss was because I forgot to trigger this, and I needed 1 more interruption to not dead a 10 pie. So yeah, make sure you don't mess up with this. Double Phantom, obviously it's at 1 now. It was fine at 2. I didn't really want it more than that. You can recycle it fairly reasonably if you get to the point where you get there. That's all I can really say about that. 1 Wave King, 1 Varudros. Varudros didn't come up that much in this list. I think I was, the deck I actually tested was like more of a pure build without FIENDSMITH Engravers, or like farther back, and Varudros was crazy in that build, but obviously now not so much. It's a little hard to make. It does require you to kind of go fully off, but once you establish it, you probably just won the game. The card's really strong. Muckraker, this card's crazy against Raziel for your end boards because they really can just pop stuff. And so as long as you have a card that can be destroyed by card effects and you have this card on board, you're probably in a good spot. Little Knight, Moon with Closed Heaven, FIENDSMITH Requiem, Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, 1 Rage, 1 Sequence, and 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. I decided Closed World was really good because you need a way to out the FIENDSMITH board, like a way to out Detonator that's not destroying it. This deck does kind of rely on that unless you want to Little Knight it. I didn't want to use my Little Knight for it, so I thought this card was probably the best option. Access Code doesn't really do it. I did actually win 2 games against Raziel by using Closed Heaven into Closed World, eating up both their Detonator and was it Detonator and the Duo Drive. So hey, it came up because you put them on top, you put Raziel on top deck mode, and they don't do that very well. So yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile, and yeah, I think we just do this, and the deck doesn't really change at all. It's still just a really solid deck choice. This actually might even be better. I lose 1 Phantom to gain 2 opening the Spirit Gates, right? Like, who cares? But obviously, I haven't tested the deck yet in the new format. I'm gonna try it at locals on Saturday, and I'll report it, I guess, with how I do. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.